asking you to do is get your shit together.
Live for me.
Live for me. Welcome.
We back.
We sure in the hell are.
Shit.
Episode 4.
Yep, TuneTheFork.
I'm James.
Life, man.
And we are here to talk about something very important.
Yep.
What is in your bag?
Ooh.
I was thinking about the fact that when people see this, it's going to be New Year's Eve.
Yep.
And 2020 was a motherfucker. And
still is. Shit.
As we kind of get ready for 2021, I was thinking back to where, when I was in the business world or, when we got a DJ, when we get ready, when we're getting ready for a gig, when we're getting ready to do something, we put a bunch of shit in our bag.
Yep.
So for a DJ, you might have some needles, some slip mats, Serato box.
Yeah. Extra shit.
Yeah. Backups a backup.
Yep. Sure.
Because you're going to this gig, you're going to do something.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure you got everything that you need. Prepared.
Yeah, that's a deep ass word, being prepared.
Yeah. And when we're going into 2021,
right?
What is in our bag?
Ooh. Man.
What is in that bitch? And what are we preparing for?
Yeah.
Because I think if we actually analyze what's in it, it'll kind of help us understand how we're going to navigate 2021.
Yeah.
Because some of the shit that's in our bag, bro, we didn't put in that motherfucker.
That's right. And deeper than that, to that point, some of the shit that's in there, we need to clean out. Like, you got Serato records in that motherfucker from 5 years ago that don't work, scratched up. You know what I'm saying? It's time you got to take that shit out and clean it out.
Bro, and it's taking up space.
And it's making it heavy.
Making it real heavy. Because you can carry, like, you don't want to be the nigga bringing the U-Haul to a gig. You got records.
Yeah.
Like, we got CDJs. Well, I got them. What you got them for? I don't know, just in case what?
Just in case.
And you got your whole record collection, and they don't even have turntables.
No.
So,
you got to take 2 trips to the car, park 2 blocks away, but you got to take 2 trips because you got all these extra shit.
Dude, it's real, and I think it deserves some attention just to kind of understand. First, I think shedding light on it and seeing, like, what's in it.
Yeah.
And, how have you moved? I mean, like 2020 has kicked some rocks. So I'm sure you done seen some shit. Yeah. You done felt some shit.
Yeah.
It's some motherfuckers who you ain't with no more, who you left behind. Yeah. So,
for sure.
What in that are you taking with you into your 2021? Yeah. And how much of it you actually need to leave, behind? Yeah. Or at least understand why it's in there. Because for me, what I believe is the fundamental belief I have is every motherfucking thing that is in my mental and emotional bag has a purpose. Even if I don't see it as a purpose. Like, I'm carrying it around for a reason.
Yeah.
And to look in there isn't to judge it, but to see it and to understand why it's in there.
Right.
Because I can say, this person did me wrong, or good thing they out of my life. But the residue of that negative experience, I'm actually taking with me, dog. And that shit could end up making you the most bitter motherfucker in 2021, thinking that you left every motherfucking thing behind, but you're carrying that anger, that regret, that disappointment,
resentment.
All that shit, sometimes you just gotta motherfucking let go and be like, I'm getting ready to create some new shit. Because even though you leave dead bodies on the road, bro, sometimes you got to let the motherfucking earth, what came from the sun or dust or whatever the fuck it is, like let it go back to the earth.
That's it. And you got to even recognizing, like once you open that back, take a step back. Even understanding that you carry a bag. See, a lot of what we talk about, and I think that's crucial, is not necessarily in the accomplishment of these things, right? That makes you better. Sometimes it's even in the in recognizing what you're looking at.
Yeah.
As what it is.
I agree.
Not like living through it, but recognizing that this, I need to do something about. I need to make adjustment. So recognizing that you got a gig bag and you're moving into 2020 to do your thing. Now into 2021, now you got 2020 to open that bag up. And like you just said, look at everything that's in, dump it all out, take it all out. Sometimes shit, you got to even wash the bag. There's all kinds of things you got to do. But understanding that everything in that bag should serve you. And if it doesn't serve you, and it doesn't have to necessarily be an immediate thing. It could be something that's a backup of something. And that's cool. Yeah. But if it doesn't serve you, doesn't serve a purpose to make you better, then you got to get rid of it, man. At least put it away. And like you said, man, bitterness from something that's happened before, you carry around and you carry that into everything that you do moving forward in 2021. It's not because we don't pick and choose the things that we carry. We carry it all. And we hand it all out. Whoever wants something, we give it to them.
And that we don't, because sometimes we're carrying shit that ain't ours.
That's right.
And we got to be extremely mindful of what's our shit and what's somebody else's shit.
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker, just because you say one thing about me doesn't mean it's true.
That's right.
And let's say it is true.
Yeah.
That's just one part of the story.
Right.
So maybe I can take your piece of the story and add it to mine, but it's not mine.
That's right.
And so, and another thing too,
that's right.
We got to stop worrying about how the bag looks. Fuck the Louis.
That's right.
Like, and it's niggas broke as a motherfucker with the most beautiful bag. Yeah. But it's empty as shit.
And that's figuratively and literally.
Yep.
I mean, there are people walking around the most morally, I hate to judge it, but people walking around that act reckless in the most morally corrupt ways, but their bag is pristine. The look of their bag is pristine. Yeah. But what are they carrying in it?
I remember my brother came to visit me from Philly when I first, got my own crib. I was clean, bro. I'm talking about, nigga, I had a 4-pack. I was working on them other 2 so I could have 6. 32-inch waist, 40 reg suit. I was clean, bro. This back in the day when like Hugo Boss suits was popping. I was clean. I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor, bro. I had no furniture in my crib. But when I got up and went out of the house, I looked like I owned something. It didn't own a motherfucking thing. And my brother came down one day and he was like, look, man, I'm concerned.
I'm concerned.
He said, man, like, you got to think of your house as your womb. Like, this is the place that nurtures you, that gives you life, that recharges you when you go out from going out into the world and dealing with all these pressures and powers. And so, you putting a lot of motherfucking energy and effort into the way that you look. Right. And you feeling like shit, and that's a problem. And I needed that honesty, man, to help me recalibrate, to be like, okay, it ain't just necessarily about how I'm looking. I gotta take inventory of the shit that don't nobody see. Because you think about it, bro, when you're looking in your bag, like to even go into that endeavor, it's scary. But if you don't want to repeat the same shit that you repeated, it requires an analysis. You gotta look at it. But if nothing else, but to just take stock of what's yours and what's somebody else, what somebody else's, because it all is in there.
And it's never about. Again, this is a theme we land on every time. You ain't gotta do a perfect job at cleaning it out. It ain't gotta be pristine. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just take out one or two things, and that's a hell of an accomplishment. Sometimes it's hard it's gonna take time to sift through all of that stuff. Sometimes the best you can do is 2 or 3 things, right? But the fact that you're aware of it, the fact that you know, all right, all I got this time is these 2 or 3 things. Maybe for the winter season, I do these 2 or 3 things. When the spring comes, I'm going to address it again. I'm going to try to take out 1 or 2 things. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got it. It ain't an all or nothing. It's not a sum total of all or nothing. It could be in pieces and phases and however you need to do it. But the fact that you recognize it and you're acting and making adjustments is what it's about.
So how do you, as you go through your bag for 2021, man, like you done been through some shit this year. Ooh. And we talk off camera about pretty much everything, bro.
Sure.
And one of the things that we've talked a lot about is bitterness.
Yeah.
And what that looks like and how that shows up. And I think a part of making sure you don't become bitter is to make sure that you are taking what's yours and leaving what isn't. And so as you go through your bag and prepare for 2021, like how are you going to be doing that?
My approach to moving forward in the new year, man, in terms of I'm glad you said kickbacks. That's a perfect analogy. Is as I'm moving to prepare for these gigs, I again want to try to just lay everything out. And the main thing, the bitter piece, when we had our conversation about it, I flipped it into what you said is grace. Not necessarily removing the bitterness, but adding the grace, which removes it. Right? It clears it out. It's like washing it of, you know what I'm saying, that thing. Adding that grace because that thing that I want to give away is what's going to come back to me. Right? That grace piece is in that bag. Because not only does it remove a lot of the other stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's something that I want to give away. And grace meaning, try not to hold grudges, try not to always feel wrong, try not to overlook and understand that how people interact with you is not necessarily about you. Yeah. It's not about us. It's about them sometimes. So we have to give them the grace that wherever they are, that's, that we understand that and not have to feel like it's always a personal thing that we deal with. So, but overall, I want to be able to clear it out. And like you said, separate it into piles of what serves me, what's not mine, you know what I'm saying? What has served me well up until this point, and then what do I want to add to that bag for the year? I want to lighten it up. I want to be able to move a little more smoothly in and out of spaces, you know what I'm saying? But also just be a happier person.
One of the things that I think that I've been trying to do as I've been going through my bag, man, is in determining what I want to take and what I don't want to take is what things am I taking with me that are about division? And so I will sit back and I will look at something that I feel strongly about, or I feel I was wronged in or hurt by or something. And then I will ask myself, like, what part of that experience do I want to take with me? And when I say take with me, I'm actually saying what part of the story and how do I want to tell the story? Because when I'm talking about a part of taking it with me, a part of what's in my bag is the story.
Right.
So if a motherfucker owes me some money and I ain't got paid yet, and am I gonna take in 2021 that this motherfucker is slight and he did something to me and he don't pay me back and he an ain't shit motherfucker and he got this car and he got this and he got like, is that what I'm taking with me into 2021? Because that's pain.
And that's yours.
And that's mine.
It ain't his.
It's
yours.
I've created that.
Right.
I'm carrying it.
Right.
And so am I going to take, because I can't change the experience. The nigga still owe me $50. like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what this is about. I'm still owed the money. I still got spit in. I mean, you still spit in my motherfucking face. You still told me I wasn't shit.
Yeah, you did.
You know?
Yeah.
You still, you know, whatever it is, I was still wrong, quote unquote. The real question is, like, what parts of those stories am I going to take with me, and how am I going to be telling those stories to myself?
That voice. How does that voice sound?
And so for me, it's about anything that makes me feel like I am divided from you. Because even the person who owes me money, bro, I'm you.
That's deep.
I've owed somebody money.
Yeah, that's deep.
I might not owe nobody now. But I've owed them. And so I can change the way that I see you. And because the reality is we're one. The person who spit in my face. I've done something the equivalent of that. And so maybe I can tell myself a different story about those experiences and let the pain and the hurt go associated with them along with it. Because the reality is this, like I said before, I am of the belief that it all serves a purpose. And so when you go through and evaluate what's in the bag, it's like, okay, I'm taking that with me for a very specific reason. I can't say that it don't matter, because it does. Because it's in there. And I've been carrying the shit. The real question is, why am I carrying it? And then say, okay, let me tell because that's a story that I can tell a different way. You know what I mean? And so the analysis for me is, how can I see myself in these other people? And it doesn't matter what it is, bro. Like, the trick bag in the game and the lie is that we are divided. And all of these stories and most of the shit that's in our bag are kind of like in compartments. That are like splitting things up. And we've got to understand, like, why we're dividing them up. And get to tell ourselves a different story. Because we can use that shit for energy, man, to be better next year. We can use it to be of better service to the people around us. And ain't nothing worse than a bitter ass nigga, dog. It ain't, or even a bitter motherfucking, like you're of no use. When you're that way.
When you're in that space of bitterness and misery, and you got this heaviness about you, man, you cannot move in any space other than that space. So everything you approach in a very negative way. And it's not necessarily negative in the sense that, you're a negative person. It's just the voice that you take, the thing that you tell yourself about. Because you feel hurt. Yeah. But that hurt, all of those things, the bitterness, the hurt, all of those things are the things that you create, right? Is the story that you tell yourself about whatever the situation was. Like if it was somebody owing you money, you feel hurt behind that or some way wrong behind that. So that's what you carry in that bag, that pain, that bitterness. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's levels. It could be something small, like somebody owe you. The thought that somebody that owes you money would do things and not pay you back. The thought of that level of disrespect is what you care. But it's the same thought that affected you 20 years ago when you thought about something. It just goes from year to year. And it's just that voice is just applied to different things. But it's the same voice.
And that voice and that feeling will keep you from seeing all of the other shit. Because like if a dude owe you if you going into the new year with some stuff, you'll see everything like that. So like me and you'll have a conversation and be like, hey man, I just tried to I went to the grocery store and the dude, gave me like a 30% coupon.
Right.
Oh, that nigga Marquez owed me $50 and he never paid me back, but you can get like everything will be associated.
That's right.
And that thought that thought has actually consumed you. Yep. It's taken you over at that point.
Yeah. And it's things you carry around. I mean, again, it's things that you carry around for your borderline your entire life. You just apply it to different things. Mm-hmm. And you wonder why people get so upset and so obsessed with these perceived wrongs that a lot of people think are small, right? But it's because it's something that happened to you. It's the same feeling that happened to you 20 years ago, but you just applying it to something new. And you have done that every year for the past 20 years, multiple times. That you've never looked at that thing, whatever it is, and said, I'm gonna let it go. I'm not even gonna approach it that way anymore. So it's never worked through. So you just applying it to different things over and over. And it just rots, man. It's just rotten and it's old and it's molded and it's just nasty, but you still got it in your bag.
So when you think about 2021,
right?
Is there something specifically that you are looking at and wishing for the new year for you?
I am, man. I'm not necessarily wishing, but definitely working to understanding the difference between surviving and existing and actually living, right? And knowing the things, and surviving is basically when you live in your head so much that you are barely getting by because you're so bogged down and slowed down by the things, by your brain and the voice telling you things all day, every day. You're preoccupied with that. People living, they're just in the whatever moment it is. And I'm just existing in this moment and enjoying whatever it is. It could be good or bad, whatever it is. It's not attached to anything else. It's just that thing. You know what I'm saying? So getting rid of cleaning out all of that old, molded, rotten thoughts and voices and trying to move into more of a living state of mind, living voice. And that speaks to what you're talking about. Not talking of division, not talking of being wrong, not talking of being a victim, but talking of grace and talking of, all of the blessings that I've had, all the things simple things, you know what I'm saying, that I could look to and get a sense of living, not a sense of surviving. You know what I'm saying? You're always in this hurt space that you got to survive as opposed to trying to live and be a whole individual, a whole person. And that person, again, can't say it enough. That person exists. We just have to find him. You know what I'm saying? Or her. Inside of you. They're there. They want to be living. They want to be thriving. They want to exist. But it's just bogged down with all the rest of the stuff that's in the bag.
So when I'm hearing you say that, I'm hearing you say, you get ready to go to a gig that says you got to play a specific genre of music.
Right.
And that genre is living.
Right.
So what what do you plan to put? So we talked about cleaning shit out, right? To kind of like make space for. So once you go through the process and you clean it out, like
empty.
What do you plan to? Is there anything specific that you can call out that you plan to put in there to get to that living piece?
Specifically?
Yeah.
So I empty out my bag. I dump out everything, right? And what I want to put in there that wasn't in there before is I think that for me is the grace piece. Is not looking at the world from the lens of judgment, but from the lens of grace.
Okay.
Because that, to me, that frees me up not to feel burdened by that judgment or by always feeling wronged. You know what I'm saying? Always coming from a defensive position. You know what I'm saying? Now I come from a position of grace. I understand whatever it is, it's fine. It's cool. You know what I'm saying, dude? I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna be the living me, regardless of what you do, say, how you act, whatever the case is. I'm going to strive to be the living me and not what we always talked about, not respond from this emotional space and then engage in that way. But that's a start. You know what I'm saying? After that, as I move through 2021, that's gonna determine what else goes in that bag.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That piece is the starting point of what are some of the other pieces, and some of the pieces will come from that.
Yeah.
Like some of the pieces will appear and I will acquire from that. But having that light bag starting there, you know what I'm saying, is for me in terms of how my outlook for 2021 is how I'm going to approach it. That's the first number one thing I put in.
And when I hear you say grace and the way that you describe implementing it, there are a lot of other things that just naturally come with that, like accountability.
Yes.
You got to own your shit.
Absolutely.
You know, and a part of owning your shit is another thing is honesty.
Yeah.
Because you know, and we really take for granted the power of truth.
Yeah.
And how healing it can be.
Yeah.
And sobering it can be for people who are in their heads about certain things. Mm-hmm. And so to even extend that grace, there has to be this level of accountability and honesty that you've got to kind of like implement in order to manifest that shit for other people. Because a part of what you're basically giving them, not a part, it is who you are. Right. You know?
Right. Right.
And the fact that you want to come from an empty, I like the idea of it being empty. Right. Because I think when I first thought about the concept of what's in the bag is like there's some shit you can keep. Some shit is worth keeping.
Absolutely.
But a lot of the shit you probably should just start from scratch.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's on an individual basis.
Right.
But if you're going into it honestly,
yeah,
and owning your shit, then you kind of get to figure out what stays, and what goes.
Yeah. And again, it's always a process. It's always a process of discovering, like, as you move with that empty bag, then you start to discover things that you need to put in there. Some things you need to take out. Something. I mean, it's a process of discovering, because anything that you do new, you know what I'm saying? It's a level of discovering that you do along the way. So that's just one. I mean, that piece is just one piece. There are other things that you wanna keep in there.
Yeah,
you want to keep your. I think that you want to keep your ability to laugh at yourself.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? The world is not always so serious, and nobody, like we said last week, nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody sitting around plotting your demise. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have a level of sense of humor about yourself that you can laugh at some of the things and then let them go.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, but you're right though. That truth piece and owning and accountability is definitely part of it. What you putting in there? Or what you taking out? Or what's the first thing you would add?
I don't know, man. 2020, I think I learned some things about myself this year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like this is, I think when I look back, 2020 is probably going to be the best year of my life.
Mm.
You know?
Well, you in the minority on that one, bro.
And I think that's a choice.
Yeah.
Like, I had some, 11/11/2020, we started this business, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
My father, God bless his soul, talked to me for years and years and years about starting a business and doing something and going out there on my own.
Yeah.
And I've been a cold motherfucker in the business world, bro.
Yeah.
And I it just wasn't, I never had that desire or drive.
You didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I didn't want to see it, to be honest.
And it wasn't the time. It wasn't your time.
And it just didn't. But 2020, all of that, 2020 is the year that manifested that. Like the fire that makes 2020 the motherfucker actually created something beautiful in me.
Forged that. Yeah. And I've been telling you that long time. Like, dog, your brain is wired so that you would be, if you had your own thing, you can either give it to a motherfucker, give all that time to a motherfucker else, or use it for yourself. And I knew that one day, you know what I'm saying, that it would click what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And you're right, but it had to be forged. I mean, that fire it takes time, dog. It has to forge that thing. And all of those, your father, I'm pretty sure other people told you, it all manifests, man, and all blossom in the time it is supposed to happen.
And the worker bee mentality, there was a lot of comfort, but there was a lot of pain because that shit wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. I was never living my truth. I was focused on comfort.
Yep.
And ain't too much good coming from comfort.
And it's fake comfort. It's comfort it's perceived comfort.
Yeah.
Because, I've seen 1,000 times a motherfucker comfortable and the next month they gone.
Because there's a difference between what you want and what you need.
Yep.
What you need ain't what you always giving yourself.
Yep.
And you'll create all the excuses for not giving yourself what you need. Because you'll be focused on the other shit. Because that's your lower self. But anyway, in terms of what I'm taking with me, I'm taking the feeling to want and the desire to want to manifest all of these things that I envision for us, man. And literally letting nothing get in my motherfucking way from that at all.
Yeah.
And I know that the minute I say that, the universe is going to say, prove it.
Yeah.
Because they're not just words, they're energies.
Yep.
And I will be given an opportunity to demonstrate that. And so in preparation for that, I'm just developing the skill sets, the discipline, and the to fortify my commitment to this desire to want to help other people.
And the belief, because that universe piece, not only does it, but before it says prove it, it's going to open up so wide and give you such a path to get there. The proving it is you walking it. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to pick you up and carry you through it, but it's going to look at you from that path. Here's your path, prove it. Prove how bad you want it and walk.
And when I was saying prove it, I think it was about, it's going to be a slight tangent. Slight. It's like when you get a girl. And then you start getting on, and you say, I'm going to be with this girl, and she's going to be the one for me.
Right.
And everything is cool.
Yeah.
I'm committed to her.
Yeah.
You ain't got a call from nobody in 2 years. Ain't nobody looking for your dusty ass.
Right.
You can't pay for sexual favors. But the minute you get a girl, and you be like, oh, I'm good. Now all of a sudden, out of the woodwork, you getting these calls. And in my mind, that's the universe saying, prove it. And so my mind's eye assumption of approve it about this is like somebody calling me, offering me something, or giving me an offer I can't refuse. Say, man, I give you $500,000 if you come start this piece or do something that and the third. Like here comes the offer I can't refuse kind of scenario.
Right.
That's going to try to knock me off of my square.
Right.
Because that's the fat ass calling me at 2:00 in the morning after I said, I'm in a committed relationship.
Facts.
So that's the prove it. Scenario. But I because I've lived long enough and have had enough examples of it, I'm anticipating it. And I'm doing what I need to do to stay committed to this thing, man, because I believe in us. I believe in what we talk about. I believe in our vision, our future. I believe in our love for our people, for humanity, you know, and trying to make the world just a little bit better place. Because the crazy part about it, bro, and I know I'm speaking a lot, is it's small shit. Like, we don't have to solve hunger to change the world. We can just make up our goddamn bed. We can just brush our teeth at night. There are these small little things that we can do to prove our commitment to ourselves that have extreme motherfucking consequences and reverberate throughout the world and with other people. But we look for shit to be so grand in scope to where we feel like our little pieces don't matter. But really, bro, that's all life is. Life is just a lot of motherfucking little shit. That's it.
Small moments.
And so the things that we're talking about touching and tapping into, man, are a bunch of small moments. Because it's really just getting into these spaces where somebody wants to give up and they small. And you just say, you matter. I love you. And
they, those moments, though small to us, again, plant a seed in someone else. And that seed could turn into something bigger. But it starts with a small moment. I mean, that seed could be a small moment for somebody else's seed. Or for 2 people's seeds, or 10 people's seeds, or whatever it is. But you're right, man. It's all small moments. It's all small things. And all of those small things move you forward to your purpose. Move you forward through your purpose. You know what I'm saying? And the universe wants to see you in your purpose. You know what I'm saying? And we think that, our purpose are these grand acts of solving cancer, you know what I'm saying? Finding a cure for it. Ain't, man. Sometimes it's influencing somebody that might do it. You're just important, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. As that person is. So it's all small moments. And I like that piece of you putting in the bag, because believing in this and in us, and also believing in yourself and believing in your purpose and believing that the universe has something for you in that. You know what I'm saying? It's all. But what does that look like in your bag? Like when you open that bag in 2021 and you see what's in there, what does that look like in terms of your day-to-day activities?
I think, and this goes back to the things. It goes back to the things that we were talking about before with the depression.
Right.
There are specific things. There are things that I have to do that give me fulfillment.
Right.
I'm not a monk. I can't just sit on the fucking hill somewhere on a mountain and then just pray. Like, that ain't where I'm at in my evolution.
Right.
I got to do some shit.
Right.
Right. Because the effort and the process of overcoming those things kind of like create this piece of function and necessity. Mm-hmm. So like a part of what makes me get up in the morning is knowing that there's somebody who I can help. Right. Because now I finally reached the point to where, shit, nigga feel like he matters. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I matter. Right. So I don't get to just sit in the goddamn bed and to be slight. Right. Like, I am needed. Right. Like, and that might be an arrogant way of thinking about it, but I'm looking for opportunities to help. And so that's kind of like that's what that looks like, man. Waking up, I wake up in the morning, bro. I think I make my bed. Right. I got a little ritual and shit that I do, clean out the little box and all that, blah, 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 blah shit. Yeah. And then just adding something else to the morning ritual of getting things and getting locked and loaded. Yeah. But that's something that I'm also keeping because, reaching out to people, checking on people. Hey, you good? How you doing? How you feeling? Yeah. You all right? Yeah. You know? And one of the things that I know that I'm going to have to do in 2020 is to be more physically present in places. Yeah. Which has been difficult. In like now for various reasons and because of weather and stuff, I've got to get more active and start doing more of that kind of work. Like, because what I realized a lot of this shit is just about being in the right place at the right time. Yeah. And that's it's not impossible, but it's difficult. And I'm a problem solver, so I'll figure out how to do that. But that's pretty much. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. So that being in different spaces, right? Do you feel like that the other shit that you always carried around in that bag keeps you from wanting to be in different spaces? Because for me, I think that too. But a lot of times, I don't like being, if I'm not DJing or if I'm not hanging out with my people, I don't like being in some spaces, right? And it could be me, man. It's definitely me. I feel a level of, I don't like these ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it could be based on, again, absolutely not. I don't even know these people, you know what I'm saying? But there's a there's some other shit that's carried around that prohibits me from doing those kinds of external things. Do you feel that sometimes?
Yeah. Like, I hate people. Like, I think I have a natural inclination to think the worst in motherfuckers.
That's it.
And I'm very judgmental.
Yeah.
I can be arrogant and insecure at the same motherfucking time. Yep. And so, like, all of those things are kind of like swirling in my head as you say that.
Yeah.
But all of that is trumped by being of service.
Yes.
Like, that's my ego.
Yeah.
That's the motherfucker in me wanting to put a label on everybody outside of myself. Right. The division, right, as opposed to just seeing the fact that I am one and connected. Because the more, because that part of taking it into me, I will always have an excuse to not engage.
Right.
Like there's just an infinite number of excuses that I can come up with. So
the difference in, like, when you say, okay, I need to get over that shit because I need to be of service.
Yes.
Right? There's that piece. And that's clean. And there's a piece that is the shit that you've carried around with you, the ego shit that you've carried around with you for all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you make the adjustment first to the ego piece so that it doesn't exist, so you don't have to say to yourself, hey, I'm doing this because I'm of service, I need to get over this shit, right? Or do you just say, hey, I'm of service, I need to get over this shit, and that makes the adjustment to the ego piece?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna suffer.
True. Right.
This is what we were talking about. Yeah. Like, this is where the discipline comes in.
Yeah.
I'm going, no matter which one of them motherfucking things I choose,
right, I'm
going to suffer.
Right.
I would rather suffer in service to a greater good.
True. That's clean.
So I'm gonna do it because that's what a nigga said he was gonna do.
Right.
Right. You know, I'm gonna make my bed because I said I'm gonna make my bed.
Right. I'm
gonna be faithful because I said I'm gonna be faithful.
Right.
Not because it's easy.
Right.
Because that's what the fuck I said I'm gonna do.
Right.
Like, and sometimes it's literally, bro, it's literally that easy.
Yeah.
And it's so easy that we think it's not real.
Right.
Because you just gotta choose it.
Yeah. You
just gotta choose it.
Yeah.
And so for me, the practice of choosing it, of just choose, it's like I just hit my 2-year anniversary of not drinking, bro. And I'm never going to drink again.
Yeah.
And I just had to choose to not drink. Now, there were some difficult moments.
Yeah. And
I would call brothers and be like, yo, man, I had to leave this spot. And some people would be like, oh, James, come just have a drink. And And then I'm like, nah, I don't want to have a drink. Right. And the crazy part about me with the alcohol, which was really crazy that I don't understand, is like when I would be out and there were a bunch of women and they were good looking and I felt like I was getting rhythm or whatever, I would want to drink. Like hollering at girls in my mind, it was like the cigarettes and drinking.
Yeah.
Like they were both, what's the word? They were synonymous with one another.
And they're connected.
And so when I started getting antsy to like talk to somebody, I'd want to drink. And I'd be like, okay, I ain't feeling like talking to nobody. Like this ain't really what I'm supposed to do. Right. I feel like doing. And then I don't want to drink. And then you don't like, and now I feel like, fuck, I'm in overload.
Right.
My brain don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
So I would step out and leave.
Yeah.
And then I would have those moments because I'm exercising a muscle, bro, that I haven't exercised in a while or ever. Right. So it was hard in the beginning.
Right.
And then it get easy. But as long as you keep doing it, because if I had taken a drink, then I would have suffered the following day because I would have been like, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know you shouldn't have done this.
Right.
You said you wasn't going to do it.
Right.
You failed yourself.
Right.
And I did not want to have that conversation. So I built a time machine and said, nigga, this is how you gonna feel if you take a drink.
Right.
And that's gonna, so don't do that.
Right.
And then that's the relationship. And then it just got to a point. So the suffering piece on doing the thing, regardless of what is telling me to do it or not do it. Right. I'll have those conversations, but they're never going to be at the expense of doing it.
Okay.
Because I gotta do it.
Okay.
Because I said I was.
Right. Right. So for me, man, a lot of times, now I want to figure out that root and put the motherfucking what's that shit called? Kill the roots?
Y'all East Coast motherfuckers. ROUTE or ROOT? You want to figure out the
root. ROOT.
Not path. Okay.
That's a route.
My bad. I don't know, man. Niggas over here say like Route 66. I didn't heard that, bro.
Did they say Route 66?
I've heard Route 66.
But that's...
I don't want to veer. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were saying.
But a Route 66 is a specific highway. A route is a way that you take. A route is...
Quit playing, bro.
Huh?
Route and route is the same thing in that.
Yeah, but they're two different uses. Route 66 is a formal name of a highway.
No, it's Route 66.
No, it's not Route 66. Y'all say route?
It's
66? Y'all say route.
I don't know.
That don't even sound right.
I don't know. I'm just saying, niggas. I'm just saying.
You've heard both.
Are you?
But see, you're in the area with people from all different places. You're not in one place.
So how do you say ROUTE?
Depends on the use of it. If you're speaking of specific Route 66, a specific highway that exists, capital R, Route 66. But if you're talking about a way to get somewhere where you took specific directions, that's a route. Start when the navigation start, it says starting route to, doesn't it? Or does it say starting route?
I don't listen. But okay. All right.
I forgot my point.
My bad, bro.
Killing the root.
You want to get to the root.
Killing the root of what the thing is that
not
causes,
but not killing the route.
Not killing the route. Taking a motherfucking weed be gone, killing the weed that's there, that causes it, so that I then can exist free of it.
That's clean.
Right? But I get what you're saying, because I think it ends up being the same thing. Like the more that you do it, you also you're killing the more that you practice in doing it, the more that you add that practice in, you're also killing that root.
And I think both, as long as the work is done.
Right.
Because like the objective for me is the same, to get to the route.
Yeah.
We're using this forever. You gotta get to the route.
You gotta
get to it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit here and ponder for 2 weeks.
Right.
Trying to figure out what the route is. Because that's 14 weeks worth of work that I could have been doing.
Right.
So get your ass up.
Yeah.
Like, because through the process of doing it, you might help, it might create the route to the route. Bars.
Dog. That's a clean 16, right? But you are absolutely right. It does, doing it that way does get you still in the same space. But I think that, a lot of times when I end up feeling a way about something, like when something is in my space and I feel like my behavior is sort of programmed to do this, and I have to fight that program in order to do what's right, like I have to say, hey man, I'm not gonna participate in this shit. Let me take a step back, like you just said, and think about how that's gonna end up, what I'm gonna feel like after that ends up that way, and let me not participate in this behavior that I know is bad. That sometimes I know where it comes from. I know what those voices are. I know the motherfuckers are talking to me. Hey man, you do this, make me feel bad. You know what I'm saying? I need to say, okay, where the fuck is that coming from? Let me get rid of that shit so I can exist free of that and not have to fight that, not have to have that battle with that voice.
And sometimes when you get to the root of it, here's the thing that I realize. Sometimes even when you get to the root, you still, it don't change nothing.
Right.
At that moment.
Right.
Now you just know.
But see, knowing is your ability to say, I know what that is, and I know where it belongs. That shit don't drive me or control me. I control it because I know what the fuck it is.
But it goes back to the Instagram post that I sent from that dude Antonio Damasio or something like that, where it said, sometimes we don't use our brains to solve problems. We use it to hide.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we will create the process to keep from doing some shit. And the best way you know if that's kind of like what you're doing is if you do something about it once you get to it.
Yeah.
It's like, motherfucker, do you want to solve a problem or do you want to play a game?
Right.
Those are two different exercises.
Because we still want to, even in recognizing it, we still want the excuse to do it.
Or to not do something.
Right.
So
right. Exactly.
So that's what I mean when I say, like, as long as you're doing,
right,
nothing's gonna trump work.
That is true. That's clean.
Nothing.
That's clean.
So at some point in time,
that's clean.
You gotta choose life.
That's it.
And life,
that's it,
is motion.
That's it. That is it.
It just is.
Yeah.
It just is.
It exists.
I like it. And so think all goddamn day.
Yeah.
You know, sure.
Yeah.
But get your ass up.
Yeah.
But get your ass up.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Woman.
And that motion piece is huge because we do get, we get stuck in our heads, churning this shit and flipping it and but what all of that does is it always gives us an excuse for it still to exist.
Yeah.
Like, and us not doing really anything about it other than sitting with the shit. Like, we'll sit with the fuckery, like he'll sit right beside us and we'll sit and kick it with him, but we'll still engage in the fuckery. We'll know it's fuckery. But if you decide that the discipline, the work is me not doing it, trumps everything else, the fuckery existing, you know what I'm saying? Then that changes the narrative of how we approach the fuckery in those moments.
And this is the podcast for the niggas who want to do the work. Like, this ain't the conversation where we encourage it. Like, we've gotten past that.
Right.
Like, this is for the person who has said, I'm getting ready to go do some shit.
Yeah.
And to help kind of direct that energy into a specific way.
And there's, and also the person says, man, I'm sick of the bullshit. I want to do something different. And so I'm moving in this direction to do something different.
And if that thought triggered in their mind the millisecond they clicked on this, then it's for you.
Right.
But so like this, I mean, I guess you find inspiration wherever you want.
Go ahead, man. Finish. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I spend enough time sitting still. I spend enough time being in my head. And I'm even still in my head now a lot.
Right.
Which, you know, I like it there. I think about some dope ass shit.
Right.
And I think my thoughts are cool.
Yeah.
But you know, nothing's gonna trump work. Like, it's just a part. It's a part of the process and the circle of healing. You gotta listen.
Yeah.
Understand what it is.
Yeah.
Understand where you are.
Yeah.
And where you want to go.
Yeah.
That requires listening.
Yeah.
You have to know how to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Meaning, looking what the fuck is in your bag.
Yeah. What
is in there.
Yeah.
And you got to be honest with what's in there.
Yep.
You can't take a stethoscope to change a tire.
That's right.
It's not gonna work.
And you gotta pull the shit out.
So you gotta listen.
Right. Because sometimes shit is hide behind other shit. So you got to have the shit out of the bag. You can't go searching through the shit.
No.
You gotta pull it out. You're right.
You
And dog, and you said that inspiration piece. I was sitting at home the other day, dog, and I was thinking about, I don't want to be another voice of inspiration of you could do, you know what I'm saying? You could do this, and the world is yours for that, and all that shit. I mean, that's cool. It has its place, but it always feels another level of consuming. Not doing, not action. You know what I'm saying? It's telling you these grandiose ideas of shit, and you're consuming it, and you just sit there and watch the shit. Like, and then when it's over, you go right back to the bullshit you was doing before. Yeah. But you might feel inspired for about 15, 20 minutes. But it's because you consumed it, and it fills you with an emotion, and then you know, 15 minutes is up, you go right back to. But that piece about this is for motherfuckers who want to actually do an action or manifest an activity that will help them move forward in their process. And that's my fucking key to the difference.
Yeah. That's a good point, man. And I think I don't make many qualms about the idea, man. Like, I'm clear, bro.
Yeah.
I am here for me.
Yeah.
Like, I got it, but that's only in the sense of having to get me right first.
Right.
Like, and because there's this idea about this concept of not telling anybody how to do something.
Right.
But to demonstrate the qualities of being that thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like I was talking to my brother about the idea of listening. Mm-hmm. And I was telling him, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but it's like, people ain't gonna listen to me talking about listening.
Right.
Like, right. And that's one of the worst things that we don't listen well at all. Bro. We don't listen to other people, and we don't listen to ourselves. And it's almost like we're fucking allergic to it.
Yeah.
And because we spend way more time, and I know this is hypocritical as fuck, to where, you know, a motherfucker sitting here talking about listening.
Right.
It's silly because I'm talking to you. I ain't listening to you.
Right.
But I understand the importance of trying to be a better listener.
Right.
And working to be better at that,
right,
while not telling nobody how to fucking do it.
Right.
You know, because like, I'm still working on it. I mean, I'm sure you probably done said a gang of shit during these joints, man, in our personal conversations.
Yeah.
That just kind of like went over my head.
Yeah.
And I got caught up in my own thought and my own objective of something,
yeah,
and missed what it was that you were really trying to say.
Yeah.
And those are moments that we're doing all the time.
Yep.
And we spend way more time trying to make sure we're not being misunderstood than we are making sure we ain't misunderstanding somebody else.
Shit, and we spend time just wanting to be fucking heard.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily to listen or to receive. We want to be heard, and we want to, you know, we want to be the center of shit, and we think of being listening as a passive action, like it's something that makes us not important, as it is the person motherfucker who's talking. You know what I'm saying? And you're right, man. And when we talk to ourselves, we don't listen to ourselves. We just talk to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That voice just exists. We don't, you know, our listening, we don't listen to, you're right, man, we don't listen to each other. We don't listen to, and then the people who we do listen to, we don't listen, we just consume. And there's a difference.
And we don't, well, what I would say is, we don't listen to understand. Right. We listen to disagree.
Yes.
And
yes,
and so and that's a different action.
Right.
And that's something that I want to put in my bag now that we're talking about being a better listener. You know, because because there are two skills that are required in communicating: listening and then communicate, like expressing, sharing an idea. And I don't even really, and I'm sure, like even on this podcast, you can see how fucking antiquated some of my thoughts are, and how off and contradictory a lot of them are. And my hope is through having these conversations that I get better at and more clear with how I communicate, because I know it shows up. Because a lot of times I want to default and tell somebody ain't listening to what I'm saying and all that old kind of shit. Well, really, nigga, you ain't saying it the right way. Like, maybe that's a part of it too.
Right.
So, but first I got to do a better job. My skills at listening, it's much more important for me to be a better listener than it is a talker.
And that's part of the dog. This is all part of the process. We said in the very beginning, man, we don't have the answers to shit. You know what I'm saying? We just are moving in this process like a lot of people. We are at our point, just like people are at their point. But back to what your original point was, it's the action of continuing to move in a direction is what's key. And you'll find that the more that you move in that direction, the closer that you will be to something that already exists. But the more that you stay still and stagnant, the further, it's weird, the further it is away. But the more that you move towards it, the closer it moves to you.
Yeah.
And that's the universe. The universe, every step you take towards that purpose and in the universe, towards your purpose, that thing steps towards you.
And that's the choice piece.
Yes.
And I think it goes back, like, that's how you create.
Yes. You ever seen them joints After Skool on YouTube? I don't know if y'all ever seen them joints. Y'all might want to check these out. They're called After Skool. They're illustrators that take like speeches, or sometimes it's TED Talks, sometimes it's just interviews with different people, and they illustrate what they're saying when they're saying it. It's actually cool as shit. It's called After Skool. After spelled regular, Skool, Skool, and it's on YouTube. And they've done Dave Chappelle, they've done Joe Rogan, they've done everybody you can probably think of. They did a joint with Alan Watts. They've done Jordan Peterson. They did a joint with Alan Watts that talked about processes and being creative, right? And how being creative is our true selves. And anything that stands in that way is what we've been programmed to do, right? From early age. It's this patterns that we talk about. We develop these patterns, and a lot of these patterns are meant to keep us from being creative. But when we turn those patterns into creative patterns, we become creative people, as opposed to a non-creative person fighting a pattern trying to be creative. We become creative people. It's deep, man. You need to check it out. Alan Watts.
We're gonna link that, right?
Put a link to it. Yeah, it's I forgot the actual name of it, but it'll be in the link. But it speaks to just that, man. It speaks to being, as you move towards your purpose in the universe, that universe move towards you, you are being creative. You're creating something. You're not just doing behavior that you've done over and over and over and over and over and over. Something that someone else taught you, right? You got from school, you got from college, you got from your parents, you got any of the bullshit that's taught to you over and over again is not creating. You start to create new things.
And I think I feel like we're always creating.
Yes.
We're just creating the same things over and over. We can choose to create something new. Exactly. It's like, and I think that's where the power, because I think when it's framed that we're not creating, it's almost as if, and not saying that you said this or you were trying to say it, but I feel like almost like not victims, but we're not in control. We've relinquished the control of what it is that we're choosing to create. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like somebody else is driving our creativity plane, mm-hmm. or whatever, and they're flying it wherever they want to go. We can take the wheel back and create some new shit.
But that requires us, and you're right, it's a choice piece in there. But it also crucial that we recognize what you just said, that exists. See, a lot of times we're on autopilot with this thing that we live. Like we get up, go to work, and go to school or whatever, and we do these behaviors over, and we always feel we always feel like we're less than fulfilled in what we do. Deep down, right? There's a choice in there that exists, but a lot of times we don't recognize that choice because we don't stop to take a step back out of it and see it for what it is. See those patterns as something that we don't want to participate anymore and make that choice.
We don't think we created because it's not our idea. The world that we live in is not the world that we created.
Right.
So we don't feel like we created.
Right.
So, I was getting ready to say something. So, but we didn't choose what's being created.
Right.
But we're creating it.
Yes.
And so because we didn't choose it, we don't feel like we created it.
Right.
It's almost like the people, like when you own some property or something, like people take care of the shit that they own,
right,
versus the shit that somebody else's shit.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you don't think this is my shit.
Right.
Like, so I'm gonna take care of it because while it's in my possession,
right,
I own it in that sense. So like, because we didn't choose the world that we created, we don't feel like we can create something different.
Well, yeah, we didn't choose the world that we live in. We create our own sort of existences based on the world that we live in and how that world has taught us through patterns and repetitive behavior how to exist, right? And that part of that existing is having this fake sense of choice. So we feel like we choose what we eat every day. We feel like we choose when we watch on TV. We feel like we choose, the route to take to work. But really, if you look at a larger picture, we are participating in the same hamster wheel every day, over and over and over again. That we don't step back and say, "Hey, man, I don't want to do this. I want to."
We feel like we choose the president.
Right, exactly. All of that is the matrix, man. It's created choice. It's a choice that ends you back in the same place every time. It doesn't truly change anything. It's just a choice that you think that you have, but you're still in the same trajectory that you were before. Nothing changes in those choices. But true choice is saying my existence is going to be creative and I'm going to do this thing. Regardless of what anybody says, thinks, or what I need to change that pattern and to think creatively as opposed to thinking a choice that somebody has given me, which is not a choice at all.
And I think that when you look in your shit, when you look in your bag, especially for 2021,
right,
you're disrupting the flow of that process by like actually taking stock and inventory.
Yes.
Because a lot of it is built on you not looking.
Yes.
And you identifying with all of the shit that's in there that's not going to get you where you need to go. And this is not talking about New Year's Eve resolutions and all that little type of shit. It's like saying, hey man, you said you want to go some motherfucking where.
Right.
You said you got a gig Saturday night at the W.
Right.
And they want you to play a specific genre of music.
Right.
Did you prepare your set? Is them shits in there?
Yeah.
And they said they got 1200s. Do you got your needles? Do you got your slip mat?
Yeah.
You got all the shit that you need in there.
Right.
Are you prepared?
Right.
If you're in 2021 and you saying that you getting ready to kick this shit off with force and fury,
yeah.
Do you have the shit in your bag in order to do what you said you want to do?
Right. Or do you have the plan in place to get the shit that you need in order to get this done? If you look in your bag and you see you ain't got needles, you need to go out and find you some needles. That's your responsibility. You're accountable for that.
But that's the piece, right?
That's the part of the action. All of those are actions.
So it's at least kicking the combo.
Exactly.
And for you to even look. And when you look in the motherfucker, to be clear, don't look in it with judgment.
That's right.
There's
clean.
Don't look in the, there is a way to evaluate something without putting a value.
Yes.
You can observe it for what it is.
Yep.
So when you look at the shit and you say, okay, just look at it and be like, okay, does that, what that thing is that I'm looking at, is there another way that I can tell myself about that? Another way I can tell that story to myself.
Yeah. And you hit the round head, dog. You're observing it. You're not evaluating. Always gives you a number, like a value is in the word. You know what I'm saying? But if you're observing it, then you're saying, I see this thing, and then you can say, does it serve me? Or is it something that I can use? Or is it something that I can do better, differently, or whatever the case is? It's just observing the thing.
Because if you making an egg, you don't have to evaluate a fucking egg beater.
Right.
If you're making a cheeseburger.
Right.
If you don't like, the egg beater isn't bad.
Right.
You just don't need it to make a goddamn egg beater,
exactly.
a cheeseburger.
Exactly.
So when you look at it, like these are tools, these are things. See what's in your bag.
Yeah.
See the energy.
Yeah.
See the opportunities.
Yeah.
See the experiences.
Yeah.
See the relationships.
Yeah.
See all of that shit as tools that you can use to create the life that you want to live.
Right. Or not use.
Or none of it is off the table.
Right. Exactly.
And so you get to evaluate it all.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
I don't know how to stop those thoughts. That's it. You can say you don't know.
He said, I don't know how to stop dope thoughts.
But
that's clean. All that's clean. All that's clean.
On the music front, man, what you been listening to?
Shit, man. When we talk about this bag in 2021 thing, man, I want to add some newer stuff to my bag. I've been listening, but I haven't been digging and finding like those, not really say obscure, like really sort of hidden gems. I want to start doing like new ones.
Yeah. Like
before, I've always been digging back, right? I never really, and then if something came along in my view that's newer, that's dope, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. But I never really sort of dug forward in finding new things that exist now, new sounds that exist now. So that's something I definitely want to add to my, and those Spotify playlists that those TuneTheFork joints are nuts. Yeah. So if you ain't checked them out, check them out now, man. We got playlists on Spotify. Spotify.com/TuneTheFork. Look it up, TuneTheFork.
It like, I don't even know. Is that how they do it? Spotify.com/?
We're doing it now. That's what we think.
So
I haven't really, but I did, man, land on some the Jones Girls, man, Man, they're cool. And they're hard to find, which is weird.
Really?
Like their albums are hard. They don't have them on regular. Like Spotify doesn't have their whole album. You gotta like search and dig and find it.
I'm gonna have to. That means something you hear.
Listen, the Jones Girls they are, that Philadelphia. They got joints, whole albums of joints.
I'm gonna have to go check them out.
Not just the Nice Over Egypt, that's dope, but I mean, like, other slow joints, I mean, all kinds of joints. What about you?
I think you're right about the new shit. And it's funny you mentioned that because Nate just published his best of 2020 joints.
Yeah,
and he said he put like 58 fucking albums on there, bro.
And are they new? Because he said
they all 2020s.
They all 2020.
I think they all 20. So I'm gonna put a link to his list because he hit every genre too.
Yeah,
he hit gospel.
Yeah,
I'm like, how you hit gospel? You listening to? Yes, there are people who still listen to gospel in 2020. Nate Geezie is one of them. So he
gospel show.
Yeah, on Sundays in the evenings.
Is it in the evening or is it in the morning?
My bad. I'm sorry. In the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah.
Check him out on Twitch.
So I'm and he had some nice people too, because I heard some of the joints. So we're gonna create a playlist. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Create a playlist with some, and hopefully they joints is on Spotify, because I know, some of that stuff, depending on how independent you are.
Yeah.
You ain't on, some of the streaming joints.
Yeah, you should be. Yeah, but I need to find some new joints in 2020. I wanna make a point, man, to get some new tunes. I just can't find nothing that very seldom to give me the feeling that them old joints give me.
Dude, somebody who is dope though is Cleo Soul, bro.
Word.
Are you familiar with her?
No. All right, check her out.
There's another. I be forgetting names, man.
Cleo, C-L-E-O?
C-L-E-O-S-O-L. And there's another sister. She is young. That woman's voice is powerful like Etta James, bro. I'm gonna have to post her too. She's hard. And so Cleo Soul just came out. She had a new album last year or earlier this year. One of them's called like Rose in the Dark or something.
Yeah.
Can't remember, man. I'll post it. But it's some joints came out in 2020, and it'd be nice to do a playlist. So we can call that joint, that'd be a nice bag to go into 2020 with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
I'm so glad that people are joining, man, and commenting. We are on Instagram, and we got a channel, and just trying to share and inspire, through posts and just humor, because even though we talking about this shit, man, I still consider us to be some extremely funny motherfuckers, and that's normally you ain't hearing Dave Chappelle talk about how funny he is, but I think we're funny.
Yeah.
So it's a balance of all of it, man. You got the fuckery.
Yeah.
But we trying to add a little something different and just appreciate the support.
Yeah, man. And moving into this new year, man, while it's always important to recognize what we've been through, and we've been through a lot, we've lost a lot of people. I still can't believe Kobe was this year. So long ago.
It does, bro. Now you mention it.
Lost a lot of people, man, and this is too long to go down. But 2021, let's keep pushing, man. Keep moving.
And I think I'm gonna have a different plan. Fuck that. Own it. Own it.
For sure.
It's your year.
Yes, sir.
The time is now.
Yes, sir.
Do the motherfucking work.
Yes, sir.
Make the decision to live.
That's it.
And to help somebody.
Help somebody.
People need you.
Yep.
You matter.
Yep.
There's somebody waiting for you to be your best self.
Yep.
Who you love.
Yep.
Who you want the best for.
Yep. In your circle.
And another thing I'm gonna say this. I'm tired of motherfuckers saying they would die for me, bro. Like when you hear these terms, like I would do anything for you, I'd die for you.
Yeah.
All I'm asking you to do is get your shit together.
Live for me.
Live for me.
That's it.
Live for me.
That's it.
Forgive somebody who did something to you for me. That would be the biggest thing that you can do.
That's it. And that's all you gotta do.
Dying is sucker shit. It's easy.
Yeah.
Like living is the part that is the hard work. And the best way you can demonstrate your love to somebody is by doing the hard work. And living is hard.
That's it.
But it's worth it. And there's a lot of beauty in the shit.
Yeah.
And own 2021.
Yeah.
Don't just survive that motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't just survive it.
Showing them how to live in grace and giving grace. Showing them how to forgive. Showing them what that looks like is invaluable, man. You never know what that does to somebody's. That's a blessing to somebody when they can see, damn, he forgave him after that. Then I definitely can, move.
Some cold-blooded shit.
Yeah, showing them that piece is huge, man. Huge.
And Jesus gave us the game. They tell us about, forgiveness and all of that. Like, all these things that we proclaim to be and say, let's embody that.
That's right.
With our actions, with our faith, and with our works.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So
that's it.
Love y'all. Love you too, brother. Life.
Love you too, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Man, you the man.
And see y'all next time.
Yeah, we see y'all next week.